This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet world, West Alabama. How we doing today on this Tuesday? Oh my gosh, the summer is flying by. Tuesday, middle of June 17th. You guys are hanging out with us on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. We're live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios, trying to stay warm, stay cool, stay dry, and get you through your summer. Make sure you call Derek for all your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. You can follow the show on the Bama Central YouTube channel. You can follow it on the Bama Central Facebook page, my own social media machines at Joe Gaither 6. And of course, you can always listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Red Circle, your favorite podcast player. You can search up the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Bubble is our newest location, Mason. Bubble, B-U-B-B-L. You can type in, even if you're not trying to find the Joe Gaither Show, you can type in whatever subject you're trying to find, and their body of podcasts. So like Mason, let's say you're into aliens and UFOs or something, you can just type in, some code language for UFOs, and it'll use its AI to find every podcast that used, Mars invaders or whatever lingo you're searching in, and whether it be Bryce Young, and you hear me ranting and loving on Bryce Young, whatever your search topic is, they'll use AI to go through their transcripts and find what you're looking for very quickly. So Bubble, B-U-B-B-L, is a new place that you can find your podcast. We're there as well, and we're ready for a fun show today on a Tuesday. We're going to talk recruiting. We didn't really do any of that yesterday because Theo is not a recruiting expert. Theo gave us a lot of basketball talk, NBA Finals, and I actually did watch the last 10 minutes of the game last night. It was right after Monday Night Raw ended, flipped on over, and saw, I was getting a notification, the Thunder, that the Pacers were coming back. The Pacers were going to make it a game, and they drew it all the way to a 2-point game, and the Thunder said, nah, we're going to stretch this right back out, and they ended up winning by 10, 12 points. So they're now up 3-2 with 2 more games left. We'll see if they can finish it off before Theo gets back. Well, they will finish it off because Game 7 is Sunday, so he'll be back on Monday to cry or celebrate, either one. So we're going to have a fun show today. Let me do that. Click you right there so everybody can see Mason's beautiful face with his great Tennessee Titans hat. Tighten up. I think, yeah. No, I turned, actually. Say hello again.
Hello. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah.
Okay, right. There we go.
Gonna be a good year. I'm feeling very optimistic about Cam Ward and the Titans still. Every training camp clip I see, everything I read feels pretty good. Him and Jeffrey Simmons going back and forth a little bit at practice the other day. I love to see that, so I'm excited.
Little John from the rookie quarterback to the veteran defensive lineman.
Love to see it. Don't love that he's getting a Tubi documentary. Just don't love the looks of that. We had to deal with Will Levis doing the mayonnaise commercials last season. I don't want any repeats of rookie meme things having to come back and be thrown in my face at the end of the year. But we will see.
Well, I think it's
still feeling good.
I think it's going to work out well.
I think it's good. I think it's going to be fun.
Small shout out while we're talking NFL to Becky Lynch last night. Raw was in Green Bay. They were doing their thing in their little 2,000 seat arena because they don't have any space. Becky Lynch coming out in Chicago Bears gear, just going, you guys stink. And I was like, I've never loved you more. So great times, great oldies. We're here on the Joe Gaither Show right here in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. Follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. We first should open the show by thanking Everett Osmer for joining us on Sunday. Everett came to meet us and came to hang out with us. I'm sure there was other things that he was doing over the weekend, but came on Saturday to kind of check out campus, check out the color guard, check out band camp, all kinds of things happening on campus on Saturday, but spent some time with us on Sunday. So Everett, I just want to say thank you for doing that. It means a lot to me that you would do that. Spend some time, came to church with me, and then we met Mason for lunch at Wilkin Formby's house. So it was great.
The house that Wilkin Formby built.
Absolutely. They got a lot of what you like.
That they did.
Well, let's get into it. What are we going to do today? We got a voicemail in the tank from Robert. We want to address that pretty quickly. I think it's going to lead us into our first conversation on recruiting. I just saw the transcripts. I usually try to surprise myself and just listen to it, but sometimes you can't help yourself with reading the transcript. We will address Alabama's new president. The new president was announced yesterday, so Stuart Bell has a replacement, and we will talk about him just briefly. And I want to brainstorm a topic that we will nail down later in the week and then settle on who we're going to talk about. Know your enemy tomorrow. So with all that being said, Mason Woods, how was your Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday?
It was pretty good, pretty good. Relatively busy. Boston College was doing a lot on the recruiting trail this weekend. Thought there might be some things coming for Alabama. Didn't quite get there, but I still think there's some things down the pipeline there. So, pretty busy, but not overly so.
That's good. Busy is good.
Yeah, busy's always good.
I know your significant other is extremely busy in the summer.
Yes, she is overly so. She is way too busy. Shout out to her. She's busy again this morning. I had to get up and leave before I was even, had to be at work before I was even really wanting to be awake.
Gross, because you were a little behind the curtain. We say we're going to be here at 8, and sometimes I do. But every time, Mason's always here, ready to go. And I'm like, oh, gosh, I'm the bum here, stepping in here a couple minutes late. So she was already up and at 'em. That was very early. All right, so we want to obviously promote the voicemail line and get that going as best we can. So you can call us at 205-462-7340, extension 800. Mason, yesterday Dax called, talked about the WNBA, talking about heat between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and we're really watching because of Caitlin Clark and Angel. So Angel Reese tried, just a follow-up, has tried to, what is it, brand? What do you do? Trademark. Has tried to trademark the term me bounds because people are just trolling on her. So she's trying to make a little money.
Pretty smart.
Yeah, that she is. She is a businesswoman. I will say that. Needs to work on the field goal shooting and maybe be a smidge more respectful, I would say, or head under the radar a little bit. But making money, girl, making your money, doing your thing.
I think if she would just stay off the internet a little bit, it would probably serve her well.
Yes, yes. Go do your photo shoot and don't be on the internet. Go.
People are going to say mean things. It's just going to happen.
Right.
Like, you can't police what people are going to say. They're going to say it regardless. The only thing that you can do is just try to play better, and then they maybe won't say it as much.
Absolutely. And so Dax went from WNBA into quarterback talk yesterday, and we took it from who's going to start, who's going to play. And I think, because I think we're settled on that. I think Tyson's going to start, and I think he's going to play as long. All right, that's good. That's good. So I took it from the deeper question is, does he play well enough to get him into the Drew Aller camp, to get him into the Arch Manning camp, get him into the Lenora Sellers first round quarterback camp? Because that's going to create a question if he's not in the draft conversation next spring. So that's kind of really where we took a lot of our meat yesterday. But let's start with our voicemail line right here. I know we have one in the tank from Robert in Brookwood, 205-462-7340, extension 800. Just call the number, and you're going to get a little operator that goes, if you know your party's extension, hit 800. It'll ring for a second, and then you can leave us a voicemail. So this is Robert. This morning. Oh, right there.
Joe, guys, good morning. Robert from Brookwood. Well, I asked last week about recruiting. You said good news is coming. We're still in the top 40. I'm not pagging, just messing with you guys. Good show. Enjoy it every day. Don't always get to call or leave a message every day, but do tell me some good news about recruiting soon. Thanks, guys.
Love it. Before you do tell him the good news, because I think there is still some coming.
Yeah.
I want to shout Robert from Brookwood out. We are friends on the Facebook machine, and I believe it's he and his wife's 31st, 41st. It was what number did I see this morning? 31, 36, or 41 anniversary. One of those three. I can't remember which one it was that I saw, but it doesn't matter. Congratulations. That's a long time, and honestly, love that. Want to celebrate marriages and want to celebrate you and your wife today. Send you guys shout out. Y'all are doing things the right way from my outside perspective.
Certainly seems like it. That's amazing. I mean, yeah, not exactly what we wanted to happen on the recruiting trail. I mean, I don't think anything bad really happened. I the only there's one player that we'll get to that Alabama looks like he's going to potentially miss out on. That is, a big miss for this class. But I think given what they've already gotten, you're still feeling all right. But overall, yeah, I mean, the guys that we have kind of teased over the last couple shows maybe are not making their decision as quickly as we thought they maybe would be. They might be sticking with some of their originally scheduled dates and like that. A lot of those guys had dates for early July, and they might just be sticking with those now. So, it kind of is what it is. The recruiting game, you know how it goes. These recruits change their minds day after day and minute after minute, it seems like. But as for this weekend, I think you made a lot of traction this weekend with some of these guys that you brought in. You brought in, I think, 6 or 7 players, I believe. I think the original list was somewhere around 9, but some of those guys ended up not making it for whatever reason that may be. The most notable one of the weekend, the guy that I just teased a second ago, Brandon Arrington, was here this past weekend. This is a guy that, by all accounts, seemed like everything went absolutely fantastic. He was tweeting constantly, posting to Instagram about his visit. He's having a great time. You read what he says to 247, you read what he says to On3, both of them. He gives them really good reports. Everything was in Alabama. Everything at Alabama was perfect. And all right, cool. I even took it upon myself, go to the computer, throw a little something together just in case. Oh, maybe there's a decision coming soon. And I'm sitting around last night looking through the Twitter machine, and I see, he is now down to Oregon and Texas A&M. And to me, that really only says one thing: that it's a yes, is a monetary, it's a money thing. I don't know that. I'm not sure that Alabama was quite prepared to get on the same level as those two schools when it comes to what they're offering these, freshmen, essentially these seniors in high school. So it just kind of is what it is. I think that's the name of the game. Now, obviously, like I just said, these guys still have a whole other year of high school left. A lot of things that can change between now and then. Brandon Arrington could still very well wind up at Alabama. I'm not going to completely rule it out. But I do think that as of right now, they're, on the outside looking in on that.
How much do you think Jordan Edmonds played into his decision? Jordan Edmonds from Sprayberry, Marietta, Georgia, 5-star cornerback, also 6'2 and a half, 175. So very similar body type. Sure. How much do you think Jordan Edmonds, already committed to Alabama, plays into Brandon Arrington's? I had fun, but
I'm sure it's definitely had something to do with it. I think Arrington has a little more upside as a two-way player than Jordan Edmonds does, maybe. So, I don't know what they told him, whether they kind of gave him the spiel of, you could do the offense-defense thing, or if maybe they did just tell him, hey, we want you on the defense, and that scared him off a bit. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I certainly think that could have absolutely contributed. Like you said, the two guys with essentially the same body type, and, there's not a lot of times there's not room for multiple people there.
Yeah, so I was a little disappointed over the weekend. Let's just say it. Because of Courtney Morgan's elephant tweet and Hayes Fawcett, you got teasers, right, of something's coming, and nothing actually did happen, at least officially. Sure. I think that maybe there was a commitment behind the scene, right? Hey, yeah. I'm committing. Don't burn my spot. Wait for my announcement on July 5th. Yeah. Right. I'm still holding my announcement on July 5th, but don't be burning my spot. This is my spot. So I think that might have been what happened. Everett commented, enjoyed meeting you guys, and we enjoyed meeting you too. But then he said, everyone must watch this podcast. It is good. Man, number one, I think he was telling everybody on campus yesterday to check us on Sunday to check us out, and I feel so humbled by that. Really, I do. So thank you, Everett, so much once again for joining us and for always commenting. Appreciate you, sir, for doing that. I felt a little teased over the weekend. That's all. Sure. And I think Robert is, we probably played into some of that tease as well. I apologize for that, Robert. I felt a little teased. I think that maybe there was just communication behind the scenes, and we're going to have to wait on their official announcements that they already had scheduled.
Yeah, so, I mean, and just to give you a handful of the guys that are coming up, within the next 2.5, 3 weeks or so. We already mentioned Brandon Arrington, obviously, is out on Alabama, I think, right now. Still going to put him on the back burner as, I imagine Alabama's still going to be working pretty hard over the next year to maybe flip him. But you have Sedarian Morgan committing July 2nd. You've got Xavier Crowell, 4-star running back, committing on June 26th. Xavier Griffin, the linebacker that we've talked about a ton, the guy that recently decommitted from USC and now has taken his tour of the top schools across the country, basically, set to commit June 29th. Sincere Johnson committing on Thursday this week. 4-star linebacker from Cleveland, Ohio. I think Ohio State's high on his list, but I'm not ruling Alabama out there. It's been a little bit since that I've seen some of the rumblings there, but I'm not going to rule the Tide out on that one. Kenny Darby, the LSU wide receiver commit, guy that was in Alabama. I think he was here on May 30th, maybe June 6th for his official visit. Seemed like everything went really well. He's only taking visits to Alabama and LSU. Guy right from the heart of the Bayou, so it could be a major flip if Alabama could land him. His decision's coming on July 4th. And then Boobie Feaster, another guy we've talked about a lot on this show. I'm not really sure if he's going to be picking Alabama. It's seeming like he may be leaning Texas A&M from what I've seen, but regardless, his decision's coming July 4th. So you got a lot of things coming up for Alabama. And then in this weekend also, I mean, you send out an offer to another cornerback, you potentially miss out on Brandon Arrington. So they say, okay, we'll go try to get this guy from Georgia Tech, Jaden Terry, 6'3", 175 pounds. Fits right into the mold of what you're looking for at cornerback. Long, athletic, can do it all. Outside of that, 3-star running back Javian Mallory was here this weekend, a current Miami commit. I think from what I've seen, that may be opening up a little bit. He's only had visits scheduled with Alabama, and then he's going to Miami this coming weekend. So, definitely those are the two schools that he is down to, seems like. I'm not really sure exactly don't know what they told him this weekend. It seems like everything went pretty well from what I've gathered. And then the main guy that we talked about last week, Jair Edwards, did not go anywhere this weekend, luckily for Alabama fans. Unfortunately, though, he will be headed to Oregon this weekend, going to be there on Thursday.
Yeah, his commitment date, it looks like July 5th.
July 5th, yeah.
I'm seeing, just to reiterate, you already said this, but just to keep it in order here, June 19th, Sincere Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
June 26th is Xavier Crowell, Max Sutter. We're going to get him on our radar as well.
Yeah.
June 28th, Deacon Smith. June 29th, you got to get Xavier Griffin. That's that. I would love that aspect. July 1, Brian Williams Jr. July 2, Sedarian Morgan. July 4, Boobie Feaster. July 5th, Jair Edwards, Brandon Arrington. July 7th,
Brandon Arrington, I think, also actually did move his up last night when he said he was doing Oregon, Texas A&M. I think he moved his up to Thursday this week.
Oh, man. That means it's a done deal.
Probably.
That means it's a done deal and not for Alabama.
Sure.
Gun to your head, Oregon. Money, Oregon.
That's
California,
what I'm leaning to.
California man.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning toward.
Yeah, July 7th, Kerryon Mayock. July 16th, Nick Abrams. And you've got others that are just kind of up in the air. My favorite being Kamari Brooks.
I knew it. I love him. Yeah, I watched his highlights again this weekend. I had to. They're just too good.
So Dax and I have been texting back and forth, Facebook Messenger back and forth, whatever you like. You can always find us right there. And he sent me, hey, man, are we going to get Brandon Arrington maybe Friday, Thursday? And I said, Makes is the recruiting guy. I don't know. Let me, I don't even know who this joker is. Let me start look. He said, you need to look at his highlights right now. And so I did. I was like, okay, yeah. This would be a great get. And I said, well, we got excited over the weekend about Kamari Brooks. He's like, let me see him. And I said, the first 4 highlights of this huddle tape are just insane. And he was so impressive. I made Carrie look at him. I said, look at this guy. And she's a football fan, so she knows. She could see a fella flying off the screen and a fella throwing people all around. But like, I showed that first one where he wrong arms the tackle into the tight end into the back, and I'm like, what's so impressive about this is like he's shooting it, and it just Kamari Brooks.
Yes, familiarize yourself with that name if you have not already.
Courtney Morgan, do you need $5 to? I'm not a rich man.
Whatever it takes.
I am not a wealthy man. I don't claim that, but I have $5 to spare to see Kamari Brooks in an Alabama uniform.
Man, yeah. I think that is one that, if you're Alabama, obviously you mentioned Xavier Griffin, but I think that's one you got to go get as well.
Absolutely. So it's going to be a fun time recruiting. I think that we're just left a little bit teased over the weekend. And look, that's less shade on Courtney Morgan and more shade on Hayes Fawcett. Is my opinion there because Courtney he's got the information. Courtney Morgan's got the information and knows. I think somebody private committed last week, and they're just, hey, great, we'll let you announce it when you're ready, but
Mhm.
yeah, your spot is in. That's kind of what I think happened, and we're just gonna have to wait on one of these announcements because look, once you plan these parties, once you tell the school
Sure.
I'm using the gym on July 5th, you know, Coach, can I move it up? Well, the gym's booked,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. The community center's booked.
I watched a live stream this past season for a kid from the 25 class that had a helicopter rented for the day.
What?
It was like, they didn't get in the helicopter, which I still think is strange. It was just on the field with them for show, I guess. But regardless, I don't think that's a flexible date that you get with a helicopter.
Yeah. So looking forward to seeing some of these dates come down. How you feeling about Sedarian Morgan? That's kind of because I see Booby Feaster, and I think that you're gonna miss.
I do too.
I think that I think, and look, this is outside perspective looking in, Joe. I think that he might be A&M Georgia bound. Okay, but that's fine. That's fine. I see Sedarian Morgan, in-state receiver, 6'12", 480 pounds, carved in granite. Sorry, no, 6'4", 6'3". Was he 220? Is that kind of it? Just a cyborg playing wide receiver. And I see him in state. I see him going to Georgia last week, right? And Alabama, or excuse me, Auburn,
He's at Auburn
this week.
past weekend.
Right. So he's 2 weeks in a row. Georgia, Auburn.
Sure.
How you feel? Where are we landing on Sincere? On Sedarian Morgan?
I think it's very telling that Alabama is his last official visit. I think both parties probably lined that up that way on purpose. And Alabama wanted to make sure they were the last on the list, and then potentially he likes Alabama. I think everything I've kind of read about him over the last however many months or so, it seems like the relationship with Alabama has been very good. He was here on A-Day. I think he's taken another unofficial visit before that for the junior day in February as well. So, like, I think he's got a great relationship with the staff. Obviously, they're, like nothing is left behind. Like, we're throwing everything at him to try to get this guy here. This is the number one. I think he's the number one prospect overall in the state. Top 3 receiver in the class. You mentioned that he has all of the physical attributes that you're looking for, and he is just electrifying.
On3 Sports has him number one prospect in the state of Alabama, number 2 wide receiver in the class, number 15 overall. 24/7 Sports echoes that, number 1 in Alabama, 2 wide receiver, 11 overall, and Rivals is the exact mirror of that, 11 overall. So 11th best player in the class, your top player in the state. Look, we missed on cornerback who went to Ohio State from Birmingham last year. Who, see, once you leave the state, I don't think about you anymore. I got to pull it up.
I can remember the running back, Turbo.
Anthony Turbo Rogers. Nope. Let me find it. 25 right here. Let me just use a scroller. And Naeem Alford. Yes, I knew it was with an N. Now you missed on Naeem Alford last year, and probably some money at play there. And I think his father really just liked the defensive back recruiting at Ohio State and developing at Ohio State. And people, you can't recruit in state. And I'm like, whatever. Just you're behind. You're behind on that, and you missed the boat. You are not behind on Sedarian Morgan.
And I think with players like that, these high-profile fight, like you kind of have to take the state out of it a little bit. It is an all-out bidding war for these players from the top programs in the country. It is not like I think it's more telling if Alabama is able to land 3- and 4-star prospects from in-state than it is if they land all of the 5 stars. That like, oh, this is the top 3 player in the class. It's like, Oregon, everybody and their mama is throwing $1 million at this kid. So, like, I think you kind of have to take that into account as well. One thing I do think that is...
he went to Oregon, not Ohio State. That was a late flip, wasn't it? Yes, it was.
One thing that I do think is helping Alabama in their, is in Alabama's favor. You don't have any wide receiver commits right now. Like you get him here on Thursday, he knows, oh, wow, they want me and they want me bad. Auburn, you got 2 commits right now. Florida's got 1. Georgia's got 3. I think that helps a little bit. I'm not going to say I don't know what Sedarian Morgan is.
Well, and what's going to happen to the wide receiver room after this year?
Sure.
Jeremy's gone. Isaiah Horton is gone. Ryan's got another year of eligibility, but it's basically Ryan and them boys. Do you want to be the next them boy?
Yeah.
Like, I think that the wide receiver room opens up a lot after this coming season.
Yeah, I do too. I think I still think Alabama's in really good standing with Sedarian Morgan. We're going to learn a little bit more from his official visit this weekend, obviously. we'll see if maybe we can get him to get back to us on some stuff about it, and maybe we can get a reaction about it. Who knows?
I'll badger him online. Are his DMs open?
It might be. I do have his phone number. I did.
Oh,
I
good.
think he was
Send
one
me
of
his
the ones.
phone number.
I think he was one of the ones that I
I'll
got a chance to meet very briefly at A Day.
put us in a group chat, and I'll send some links to try to have some legitimacy. But he probably we'll see. We'll see what he says. Spins me to one more topic on recruiting, and this is just for fun. What the heck has Auburn been doing with those backgrounds?
I'm really not sure. Really not sure.
Describe them for the people who are not online.
I had this conversation with an Auburn fan friend of mine, and I was having trouble describing it to him as well. It's like, it looks like a J.C. Penney or like Sears like family photo shoot background. It's just a solid blue, like sky blue. And then they've got these little like cotton ball clouds. It looks like it's very strange. I really don't know how to describe it, And then you also saw, I'm sure this weekend, the "Why not Auburn?" What odd messaging to send to your recruits of like, well, why don't you pick us? It's just like I can probably think of a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to pick Auburn. Last bowl win was the Birmingham Bowl 5 years ago.
How really was it been that long? Auburn.
It's been a long time.
Auburn football.
Unless did they win this year and I'm just blanking?
No, they didn't go to.
Did they?
So. Oh my Lord! Yeah, you lost the Music City Bowl in 23.
Mm-hmm.
You lost to Houston in the Birmingham Bowl in 21. You lost to Northwestern in the Citrus Bowl. You lost to Minnesota in the Outback Bowl. There you go. Music City Bowl. Whoa, 63-14 over Purdue, December 28th, 2018.
7 years since you've won a bowl game at Auburn. So I can give you that. There's 7 reasons right there why
Holy
not Auburn.
Smokes! I didn't realize it's been that long.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not really the messaging for at least I don't think that's the messaging for a program like Auburn where they are currently. Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon. You kind of get to say that, I think, because you can't come up with a lot of reasons why you wouldn't go to those schools. Auburn, I mean, right off the top of your head, I can give you a bunch.
That's amazing.
It's not great. Not great out there on the plains.
That can't be right.
Almost a decade since Auburn football has won a bowl game.
5-7 last year. No, that's absolutely right. Golly. It's 23, 6-7. Yep. Wow. Unbelievable.
So yeah, not sure what they're doing. They're still doing the freeze warnings thing, which I guess, hey, it got you deuce night last year. Maybe it'll work again this season.
A little bit of news coming through. Hunter Decipher's texting our group chat. So let me see what's going on with this tweet. Little news, and we are kind of done with the recruiting, so we'll just pivot a little bit. Alabama basketball's roster has been updated for the coming season. That includes which coach's son? Preston Murphy Jr., a junior who previously played at Northern Oklahoma College and New Orleans. Let's see if we can get a little number. I'm sure this is just a little playing with your son. He's 6'1". He's 6'1". Preston Murphy Jr. And his Roll Tide page has him averaging 14 points and 4 assists and 3 rebounds at his one season at Northern Oklahoma. He started in 25 games, double figure score in 21 of the 28 games. And then he played for 2 years at New Orleans, spent 2 seasons at New Orleans, averaging 1.3 points per game in 8 minutes per game. So Preston Murphy Jr. comes to campus. We just helping recruit for dad. We just
Sure. I mean, we've talked about you weren't going to fill those spots anyway, really. So might as well throw a body out there that's going to give you some extra practice reps and things.
Practice reps, and knows exactly what dad wants to say to the recruits and how to keep everybody happy, and maybe learns a little bit of, learns some tools of the trade from Nate Oates and company. Great.
Yeah, so, I'm all for it.
So you've added Preston Murphy Jr.
So what, you got one spot left? Does that put you at 14 there?
Yeah, if they've given him a scholarship, which I assume they have. Because as you said, I don't think you're using that scholarship on anyone who's expecting to play a lot.
Sure.
I think you're using that exactly like this as a developmental scholarship or as a reward to a walk-on later in the year. I think if you get a walk-on that does pretty well over the course of these 6 months, and around December or January, you're like, all right, we'll throw you on scholarship, Jimmy walk-on.
You just have a open tryout, $10 to get in. There's your money for the season.
Okay. For the fans or
anybody that wants to come in, you got $10. You can come try out for the Alabama basketball team.
But you got to be enrolled, obviously, as well.
They don't have to know that. Nate can know that, but the people paying $10 don't have to know.
Well, you were good, Billy, but you're not enrolled.
Unfortunately, you just weren't quite good enough. We can't get you on the team, you know.
I've been wanting to go over to these basketball camps because apparently the guys run open gym from time to time during their, but I just haven't pulled the trigger to spend my afternoon in Coleman Coliseum watching high school camps on the chance or on the time of the team's playing in an hour. You know,
sure.
Spent some time with Owen Barnes. Barnes on Bama is his show over the weekend. And he was very, very high. Oh, my gosh, I lost my roster right there. I closed it out. He was very, very high on which newcomer? Not Jaleel Bethea. Which newcomer was he saying this guy?
Taylor Bowen?
See, that was my other thought. But Keaton Bristow was his. And he says that a lot of people, defensively speaking, Keaton Bristow is getting nasty and getting after it in these open gyms.
I like to hear.
You know, remember how we talked about LeBaron Philon last year? Oh, you know, this guy coming in, maybe something. Oh, he's tearing it up in practice. Oh, he's giving Mark fits. Excuse me, there's no Mark Sears for Keaton Bristow to be giving fits. Or Grant Nelson. I guess that would be more apropos. But apparently he has been out there giving the rest of the team fits, whoever he's been guarding. I think that might become an underrated ad for Nate Oates. Nate Oates in the scouting department.
That's what we like to hear.
Pretty good.
Like to hear. You know, it's a good plan. You go get you get a hungry player from a small school who really just wants to prove themselves, and they're probably willing to do the dirty work that a lot of people may not, a lot of other people may not do. Also, you mentioned Mark Sears and Grant Nelson. Now you see Hunter's tweet about neither of them making the cut, and I think it was ESPN's latest mock draft.
Draft is Thursday, isn't it? NBA
might be correct.
Draft date.
Is it Thursday or is it next week?
It's next week. It's next week, June 25th, next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. So he's coming up soon. Come on, somebody give him a shot.
I think both of them will probably be looking at
summer league options.
Yeah.
Trying to impress the summer league roster.
I could certainly see Grant Nelson playing his way onto a G League team.
I can too.
Mark Sears, I'm less sure about. Mark Sears, I think your path may be in another country somewhere.
Greece. Anywhere
you want. I really do. I think a lot, obviously they have their terrible leagues everywhere, but I think a lot of those players do pretty well. If you just love playing basketball, and that's all that really matters to you, probably live a pretty comfortable life.
Basketball is my favorite sport. Yeah, I think it's going to work out just fine for Mark Sears and Grant Nelson. Even if they don't make it to the NBA, sure. I think they're going to have 3 to 5 to 7 years playing professionally wherever they want to. All right, Mason Woods, let's move it again.
Grant's going to go back to Devil's Fork, and he's going to win 40 state titles in basketball as a head coach. That's what it's going to be.
Wouldn't be so bad.
It'll be a national. It'll be a national record, most consecutive state titles ever.
How many of his players will he allow to have the mustache? Like, if you can,
they have to have.
If
the mustache.
You can grow the mustache, that's the requirement for the team.
Yeah, you have to have it.
Yesterday, a little bit of news coming out of the University of Alabama. If you didn't see it, how could you not? But President Stuart Bell's successor was tabbed Dr. Peter Moeller, unanimously selected by the board on Monday. Now, obviously, the board wouldn't have put him up there if it wasn't for unanimous selection. Everybody was on board. He's going to become the university's next president July 21st, once the Stuart Bell's full retirement actually kind of goes into effect. Mm-hmm. All right, so Moeller, previously executive vice president for research, innovation, and knowledge at Ohio State, serving as the school's interim president in 2023. He also, I believe, spent time Yeah, I believe he also spent time at North Carolina and at Duke doing educational opportunities. I think he got a PhD at Duke and got a master's at North Carolina, or vice versa. So he is all up on higher education. I don't really want to get into what it means for the university because I don't really know and I don't really care. And I'm sure that it's going to be fine. Sure. I'm sure that if the board of trustees selected him and he's the next guy, especially with this leadership, this experience at Ohio State, I'm sure it's going to work out just fine.
Yeah, they know a lot more about it than I do. It is interesting to me though that seemingly he comes from some sort of like biology, medical background almost. It's an interesting path that to president of a university to me. But I'm sure, like you said, that a lot of the experience that he has in various roles he's taken on has helped him and everything. But just an interesting path, I thought.
His quote, "It is a tremendous honor to be named the next president of the University of Alabama, and I'm deeply grateful for the University of Alabama System Board of Trustees for the opportunity to serve this institution and further its tradition of excellence." You get Sid J. Trant, UA System Chancellor. His quote, "Dr. Moeller is uniquely equipped to build upon the University of Alabama's strong foundation and lead this institution into an even brighter future. He is a champion for the power of public higher education to transform lives and communities through teaching, research, and service. And he will advance our flagship mission through his bold, student-centered, and visionary leadership." That's all well and good, Mason, but I just wonder.
That sounded awesome.
I just wonder if Dr. Moeller said, "I just won a national championship at Ohio State. I got to keep this thing going. I'm going to Alabama back to back." Will Dr. Moeller be celebrating back-to-back football national championships?
I'm going to say no.
Oh, no. Come on, get in your feels.
I'm going to say no.
All right. Well, I appreciate your objectivity, but
I think Keelan Russell's your national champion quarterback in that room.
So he's going to get out there in week 5, 6, 7
next season.
Week 5, 6, 7.
Wait a little bit. I think you're gonna have to. I think Bama fans, you're gonna have to unfortunately go through a dang 11-win season this year.
Losing in the semifinals to somebody good,
something like that.
That would be painful. But Dr. Moeller, welcome to the University of Alabama. I hope you do well. I'm sure you will do well. You know, Dr. Stuart Bell, you never heard anything from him. So, I
guess he did his job pretty well.
Exactly. Case, yeah. Right. Beautiful. The campus got a lot prettier under his leadership. The beautification. Allegedly, they went down to Disney and was like, "How do y'all keep the Disney World campus so clean and so nice and so frou-frou?" And took some of those principles here to the University of Alabama. And obviously the buildings popping up everywhere. So I'm sure that all that will continue. The University of Alabama now has a new leader to lead the university forward. And I'm sure that he and Greg Byrne will work very well together and everything's going to be hunky-dory.
I wonder what that process looks like of him, stepping into this and looking at the future plans that he himself really had no hand in. I wonder if anything changes or if he just kind of looks it over and says, "Oh no, well, Stewart did a good job there. We'll just roll with it."
Well, what he does is builds a new basketball arena right on the quad.
I mean, do we think he's a basketball guy? I don't know. It's hard to call. Hard to say.
Hunter Cyber is saying that Preston Murphy Jr. is going to be a walk-on. So you still have some open scholarships.
Well, there we go.
But I'm sure it's going to be just fine.
I imagine, like you said, that will similar to the path that you kind of laid out there, mid-season or whatever it is. Oh, we've decided, sure, throw a scholarship at you, buddy.
Make sure we don't need it first.
Yeah, appreciate you for helping us out.
I think Coach Oates is going to hold out for. Is there an early enrollee? Is there a freshman? Because was it Davin Cosby who early enrolled and then never and took a scholarship? He did it once already. He's done it once already. I think it was Davin Cosby that early enrolled in December and was already on scholarship. Didn't play, but spent that spring semester with the team. And I'll imagine that might be what he looks for if he's going to use that scholarship on anybody.
Sure,
on anybody significant, that is. All right, we've got 2 more topics here, Mason. Follow Mason Woods at MAWoods _ on the Twitter machine. Follow us at Joe Gaither 6 at Bama Central. Follow us on Bubble, on Red Circle, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We will be spending Thursday with the Alpha Alexander Lincoln, started to talk some New Era Wrestling. The second half of that show, we're going to get ready for July 12th. Their next show in Jasper, Alabama. We're going to try to catch up with Katie on Wednesday or Friday. We got a comment on my own page saying, more Katie Wyndham. No offense, please. And I said, none taken. It's okay.
The smartest person that comes on this show.
He's like, no offense to y'all. More Katie Wyndham, please. And I was like, all right, noted. We appreciate that. I sent that into Katie, and she was like, I promise that's not my. I said, I didn't think it was your burner or your dad setting you up. I think somebody was, likes your work. I said, I didn't take it bad. We like your work too.
I mean, she certainly she hits a lot of things that you and I miss, especially the women's sports side of things, but also just the deeper workings of Alabama sports specifically that we kind of gloss over. She gets a lot of the detail work.
Absolutely. So we'll try to get Katie Wyndham up on Wednesday or Friday of the week. Wednesday, we will continue our Know Your Enemy series. Why don't we go into that right here? Because we've already done Texas, Florida, Georgia. We hit both. Did we touch on both the cupcakes? We swallowed both the cupcakes whole in 2 bites. And South Carolina. Then last week we were joined by Joey Dwyer of Vanderbilt 24/7 Sports. That was honestly our best one yet. Mm-hmm. So do we want to? My thought is let's get Missouri. Let's get Joey.
Where my head was at as well. Great minds think alike.
There we go.
Or minds think alike.
yes. All right, so I'll text Joey Van Zimmeren and see if he wants it to get see if he wants to let me make fun of the Packers a little bit and tell us about the Missouri Tigers.
He posted a great story this morning. He got to talk to Jeremy Macklin, the high school coach for one of Missouri's wide receiver targets. Go check it out if you've not, if you are even a little bit interested in it. Even if you're not that interested in it, it's a really well-written story. Good, super interesting information.
Joey VZ_. I'll try to see what he's up to tomorrow morning or, tomorrow morning. I'll try to see what he's up to, see if he wants to hang out with us and talk some Missouri Tigers. Because I enjoyed actually having a, someone who knows exactly about the program. So we'll try to keep doing that the rest of the summer.
Oh, I wish I could I was reading this morning about Missouri's. Have you seen their NIL numbers over the last year?
Millions or
$31 million they've spent over the last year.
Oh,
I'd have to.
I was teasing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to I'll have to see if I can find it on Twitter again now. But man, it was a guy who had looked through all the filed all the records requests and things or whatever it was. Like it was. And it was some impressive. Here we go. Missouri spent more than $31 million on NIL for athletes in the last year. Records indicate.
Great.
This is from Eli Hoff at St. Louis Today. That's pretty crazy. Way more than I would have ever anticipated for Missouri.
So recruits, you're looking to get paid.
It says football got about 2/3 of it.
Go Tigers.
Basketball got about 1/4, and everybody else split the rest.
Man, I think Dennis Gates is a really good coach. Is Dennis Gates their best coach on campus, or is it Drinkwitz? Because Dennis did have that win-less SEC season 2 seasons ago, but they bounced back pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, utilized the transfer portal well, I think. Got some good players in.
But
that's a tough call.
Yeah, Eli went to the Cotton Bowl, beat Ohio State, had that moment.
I think it's a tough call because, I think both of them, I don't think either of them are like, this guy's at the top of their game, but I think both of them are very respectable options in their, in their sport. I think both of them are, A to B tier coaches, not necessarily that S tier of whoever you want to throw up there, Kirby Smart, those guys. But
what is it about Eli Drinkwitz and Shane Beamer that they're the same coach, but I love Eli Drinkwitz and I despise Shane Beamer?
I think it's because the goofy attitude feels more genuine from Eli Drinkwitz. When Shane Beamer, he doesn't look the part. Drinkwitz, he kind of looks like a goofball. He's kind of a, not like a real fat guy, but he's not necessarily built up. Shane Beamer's kind of a cut up dude. He's got a little bit of a buff about, he's a little strong. He's kind of, he doesn't really look the part of the goofy, not afraid to make fun of himself coach. And then also he's every other week he's got a broken hand or something because he kicked a whiteboard or punched a whatever.
Emotional control, emotional regulation, vital as for going through life.
I think Drinkwitz honestly, I think they're both perfect for their respective schools, but Drinkwitz especially from Missouri, he really just fits, I think, Missouri perfectly.
All right, so we got our TV times last week, and I thought the Missouri game was a little bit more dangerous because of the 11 a.m. kickoff that was announced last week. We'll try to see if Joey Van Zimmeren can join us, and if he can't, we will meander through the Missouri Tigers. But if he can, we'll look a lot smarter. Join us tomorrow to hear, hopefully, from Joey Van Zimmeren. Let's move to the last topic that I want to kick around really kind of the rest of the week and maybe the next couple of days. You're seeing lots of top 25 players for Alabama, best players for Alabama, rank the roster, this, that, and the other. And I was thinking back to our former colleague Blake Byler when he would do basketball for us. He would take each new player and break them down, right? And we're seeing that, and I'm seeing this right here on Bama Central with baseball. Our man Will Miller has a transfer breakdown. Evan Steckmeiser, a grad transfer from Stanford, has come in. That's a great name. And so if you want to read about Evan Steckmeiser, pitcher from Samford, right up the road, he's going to be he's coming down. He's transferring to the Crimson Tide. Will Miller wrote us a transfer breakdown on Evan Steckmeiser.
Just a little touch of some breaking news on the recruiting trail.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
5-star wide receiver Tristan Keys will no longer be visiting Alabama this week. He will be instead taking another visit to LSU. So I think he's locked in with the Tigers.
Go Tigers. That's fine.
Good for him.
Don't waste our time.
You know what that means? Kenny Darby.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. We love it. And
I mean, it's Darian Morgan, obviously.
That was my first thought. But Kenny Darby, not related.
Not related, no. From ever, unless they've somehow kept it the greatest secret ever. Not related, amazingly.
That was disappointing to find out.
Yeah.
I think it's fine to not have Tristan Keys in town.
I think it's okay.
Don't waste our time.
Yep.
Did you see him at Tennessee last week?
No, I did see Zion Gibson, though, current Alabama commit. First one of the class, I believe.
They had the clip I saw of Tristan Keys.
Oh, no, I did see.
He's
walking
coming out,
down.
Yeah,
Golly.
coming out, and everybody's
every staffer. You know how mad they were. Hey, I need you to come up here on a Saturday.
For this guy who's not going to commit. We don't have enough money
for this guy that's going to LSU. Not even really considering Tennessee from everything I've seen.
That would drive me nuts.
Hooey. It did see, Tennessee had some cool looking
much better than Auburn
for their visit. Some cool shots I saw. So, I mentioned Zion Gibson. He posted the pictures and everything. They looked really good. I'm still locked in with Alabama from everything I've seen, but
much better than the Auburn Tigers. That baby blue background with the clouds made it look so strange.
And it was like it was lit so bright. There was no like dramatic, shadowing or anything like that. And no orange and blue light. It was just like us right here, just fluorescent lights. It was terrible, very bad.
So I want to kick us around a topic about newcomers for Alabama football, and I want to just kind of rank them, but since we're opening this up, and I haven't really let Mason Woods consider this yet, it would be unfair to go ahead and rank them right off the cuff. But I'm seeing Cam Dewberry, Isaiah Horton. I mean, that's an easy one, and that probably will be my number one here. But I'm just going to throw some guys out here, and we'll just start talking about whoever Mason kind of gets on the hook about. On the offensive side, my newcomers that I'm seeing that might apply to this conversation, yes, Isaiah Horton, Cam Dewberry, you got Brody Dalton, and you got Jackson Marco, you've got Latia Brooks, you've got Derek Meadows. Who else? Caleb Edwards, maybe, could be. Dreelan Washington. I think Dreelan Washington is getting overshadowed by all of these guys. Running back.
I was just about to say AK Deer.
Well, AK as well. Yeah, for sure.
Overshadowing Dreelan Washington.
Brand new. So you got some offensive names there that have come in. I do love you, Jackson Lloyd, but I think you're going to be down the totem pole, my friend. Defensive side of the football, it's like Nikai Hill-Green is your first one. Cam Calhoun is in there. Steve Bolabumwa is going to be in there as well. Chuck McDonald, maybe Ivan Taylor, maybe if you're thinking about cracking the secondary rotation, Dijon Lee as well. Goodness gracious, that secondary is going to be so long. How do you throw around a secondary that is full of 6'3" cyborgs, just aliens with their hands down to their knees and move the hips? Like,
I think the 4 defensive backs could link arms and they could touch both one side of the field and the other. Full 53. They could do it. They could do it.
55 yards, 55 and a half yards. They could go sideline to sideline. Yikes. So just off rip, we'll re-rank them. We'll set them in an order on probably Thursday. That probably sounds about right. Thursday or Friday, we'll set them in an order. But yeah, just off rip, I say Alabama's most important newcomer, and Mason Wood says
the first name that jumped into my head was a guy that I feel like has kind of been overlooked a little bit, and it's Cam Calhoun. We've talked about him a decent amount on this show just from what we saw at A-Day, and then you watched the little bit of highlights he had from Utah. I think what he showed you at Utah, you saw a lot of good stuff. He is another extremely lengthy cornerback, has that very, very long arms, long frame. He looks like a spider out there. Like he's just, it's crazy. But I think not enough people are really talking about him just because right behind him is Dijon Lee, who is just infinitely, more impressive physically. He's a little taller. He's a little bigger. He was a bigger name coming out of high school. So I think people are overlooking Cam Calhoun a little bit, but I think he will be a very big contributor on this team. I think he is going to, play himself into a pretty big role on the defense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I saw a blasphemous tweet the other day relating to the defensive backs. Cam Calhoun was not in this, but I saw this. I took everything in me not to respond to this. I saw Pat Surtain to Kool-Aid McKinstry to Zabian Brown, and it was all like praising all their technique. And while I do love you, Kool-Aid, and I do think highly of you, Zabian Brown, it's blasphemous to put anyone's technique in the same category as Pat Surtain. But
you're just not getting another Pat Surtain.
Never.
You're not. He was a once in a. That is truly what people mean when you say generational prospect, like that guy right there.
But to Cam Calhoun, I love his length. But what we've saw, the little bit that we've seen out of him, his hips are really nice.
Yeah,
his hips are really nice. Now, will it be paired? Can he tie it all together?
Sure.
Maybe, probably. I mean, potentially, for sure. But will you tie it all together? Stay strong when you're jabbing. You don't want to get off balance. Is his balance as good as Pat Surtain? No, exactly. That's the issue. When you're comparing him to a perfect prospect, to a perfect player.
This is comparing, all the quarterbacks to Andrew Luck. It's like, all right, guys.
Happy June. So, I do like Cam Calhoun as a pick there.
I like Steve Bolabumwa, though.
I'm stuck on Isaiah Horton probably as your most important newcomer, but is he your most important, or is he going to be the most visible? Like as far as, he actually caught a touchdown, and we, go ahead touchdown, made a big play.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good distinction because they got receivers.
Is it Cam Dewberry really your most important? Because you got to have somebody that plays left guard and plays to Tyler Booker. Olas is there, and Gino Vandermark is there as well. But if it's Cam Dewberry that steps in there and gives you replacement level play at guard, replacement level or better, I don't know that you're really going to be touching all SEC Tyler Booker's level of play. But you give replacement level play at left guard, and you keep Ty Simpson upright. You open up some lanes for all these running backs. Yes, he's 1/5 of the line, but really, you're only as good as your weakest link. I wonder, arguing for Cam Dewberry as your most important. Nikhai Hill-Green is another one because, I don't think he's very sexy. No offense, sir. You do look good in your uniforms and your photo shoots, but
it's not the flash you pick. Though.
Right, exactly.
He's not going to be the flashiest player.
Do we? It all goes back to my flawed perception of knee injury Deontay Lawson, because of my own knee injuries and stuff. I think Deontay is going to be is a great player, and I really, really enjoy every time I talk to him because I think he's very thoughtful, and treats us with respect. So, but I wonder, are you having question marks on inside linebacker stinger? Is Justin Jefferson going to be able to shoulder load? I think Nikhai Hill-Green presents as maybe Yeah, I think he's in your argument for most important newcomer. I think it's Dewberry. I think it's Nakai Hill Green. I think it's Isaiah Horton. I think if you didn't have Cam Calhoun, would you still be fine at corner? Maybe. Am I missing somebody?
Is it Blake Dowd or Alex Asparov? One of them has to be the punter. Somebody's got to take that job. Somebody's got to punt. Not going to punt a lot. Somebody's got to do it.
We ain't punting, Mason. Going for it on fourth down.
You're right.
Every time.
That was stupid.
No, every time we going for it. Ty Simpson. No, we're not really going to go third down because Ty's going to keep us so efficient. Yeah, no, I think that's a great twist there because if your punter is, I mean, how much do we take J.K. Scott for granted?
Sure.
And then the first year of James Burnham, it was, he stinks. He's no good.
He didn't see the vision.
And then he started to become good. And by the last time, I think James Burnham was one of the best punters in the SEC and really helped the defense by flipping fields. Yeah, I think that's the other kickers. I mean, Connor Dalty's not a newcomer, but like you haven't seen him yet. Sure. Oh gosh,
it could be an interesting year for the special teams.
Are we back to the days of closing your eyes on fourth down?
I sure hope not.
Close your eyes and pray on fourth down.
It's getting a lot of third and shorts. Let's just make them easy convertible third downs. We don't even need to see fourth down.
Yeah, I do not want to go back to those days, but as you throw those names out there, I think huge question marks are probably your biggest question marks on the team, and we barely even address it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, there's 3 phases to the game of football, and one of them, I think, for Alabama right now is a big question mark.
Forgotten phase, yes. Woo! So we got a lot to get into the rest of the week. We will nail down maybe a 1 through 5, a 1 through 10, probably 1 through 5 sounds about right on Thursday before we get up with the Alpha Alexander Lincoln. So tomorrow we will try to find our friend Joey Van Zimmeren and talk about the Missouri Tigers for Know Your Enemy. We'll try to get Katie Wyndham on Friday. That's probably what I'll ask her today, see if she wants to do Friday instead of Thursday. Then Thursday we will re-rank these newcomers. We'll nail them down. You guys can, jump in on your voicemail machine, 205-462-7340, extension 800. Who are the most important newcomers? You rank your 1 through 5, your most important newcomers for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Are you going to put Latia Brooks in there? Or are you going to put Derek Meadows in there? Will one of these freshmen crack your top 5, or is it all going to be transfers? So leave us a voicemail, leave us a comment at Joe Gaither 6, at MA Woods _. Make sure you follow Bama Central, Alabama Crimson Tide on SI for all your breaking news. Our friend Hunter DeCiver is already writing, and I think he's probably done, with his Preston Murphy Jr. piece, so you can keep up with all the news. You've read about the new president yesterday with all the press releases, this, that, and the other. So we're all over the University of Alabama news. 74 days. Yeah, go for it.
Just really quick, a little more breaking news from our friend Andrew Bone here. Georgia made a very hard push for Alabama commit Jordan Edmonds, number 2 cornerback in the class, 5-star prospect. He informed the Bulldogs that he will no longer be making it to Athens.
Sorry, guys.
Good on you.
Locked in.
He's locked in.
Jordan Edmonds, 5-star. That's the reason why you don't have Brandon Arrington. Jordan called him and said, hey, you want to play second fiddle? All right.
This is my class, buddy.
That's right. All right. Maybe not. That's a little speculation. Reckless speculation to close out the show. We will talk to you on a Wednesday on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither 6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.